So it's great to be here in beautiful Netanya. It's been a while. And yeah, let's start. So my name is Dori Adar. We're going to speak about decisions and how they affect user experience. A little bit, I want to plug my school. So here's a little bit about my school before we dive in. So that's my school. 6 years on the road, and we teach people how to design games, how to think about games, both technically and metaphysically, okay? How to design the rules and how to think about every product as a game. And we work with some of the finest companies. We do that it's been a while, and it's great. And also about me, I play a lot. I'm a gamer. These are my recent games that I've played. Does anyone recognize? Some? Any gamers here at all?
Zelda.
Yeah, that's Zelda. That's the latest installment. It's a beautiful game. So I take a lot of time to play during the week. It's work for me, but I also enjoy it. But the event that I enjoy most is definitely this event. This is the game night. Any board game players here? What do you play? Excuse me?
Catan.
Catan, yeah, it's a great game. So we play games like this, like Catan, and we do this every weekend. And I want to tell you about a specific night that occurred exactly 2 years and 4 months ago. We were playing, and my girlfriend, that's her name is Mital. She was then entering her 9 months of pregnancy. I don't remember how much is it in weeks, but it was very close to actually delivering the thing. So we were there, and we were playing, and she was sitting on this big, physio ball, and she was very late in the game when she started complaining about recurring pains. So, of course, this was just a lame excuse. She was really, really way off. No way she could take it. We're very competitive in the house. But around 11 o'clock, we realized that this is happening. Now, we were not ready, as in a very deep state of denial that this is happening. This was the second time for us, and we did our best not to think about it at all. So I don't know if we have parents here, but when you go to deliver a child, you have to get ready. You have to maybe bring someone to, babysit the one that you already have. You want to bring a bag. You want to bring pistachio. You don't know how much you're going to be there at the hospital. So we were not ready at all. And the next 10 minutes could be described as two headless chickens running around trying to understand what to do. And I remember vividly me trying to put a plastic bag on the trash can in the living room. Why? I don't know, but it was too small. And I couldn't fit it in. And I'm struggling with this while, I'm asking myself, why am I doing this right now? But I want everything to be clean. And then I raised my head and I saw my friends that were with us that day. And this is what they were doing while the magic of the creation, right, was in the kitchen, more or less. Yeah, now they're playing a game called Clash Royale. They have been doing this for 45 minutes until they left. And I couldn't help but envy them, in their very narrowed reality, where everything is very, very, programmed. And what they have to do is just take decision after decision in the game, while we in real life couldn't take even one. So that night, I was thinking a lot about games and decision making and how they come together. And I realized that all games, they require the users to take decisions, and the decision weight and frequency, they really define user experience. And as I was thinking about that, I came out with a model to help me think about it further. And this model, I call it TIMT, the interaction mapping tool. And this is what I'm going to show you and talk to you about today. Oh, welcome. So imagine the y-axis where we have a decision axis that ranges from automatic to hard decisions. What do I mean by that? Okay, so how many people here started to solve this puzzle? Okay, from the ones who raised hands, were you aware of you thinking we should do this, or you just started automatically? You just started. Nobody thought, okay, let's do it. It seems challenging. I'll go and pursue this challenge. So you did it automatically. Let's continue.
Wait, no.
Oh yeah. Right. So
Five.
yeah, there were five. Now, how many people here were very aware of the decision not to solve this equation? I mean, you can, right? But for what? It's going to take energy. It's going to take, you're going to think about it. And thinking is a very energy-consuming thing. So this is an example of a hard thinking. This is, by the way, the answer. Okay, I know that you wanted to know. So if you've read Daniel Kahneman's brilliant book, Thinking Fast and Slow, he describes these two systems vividly. He calls it System 1 and System 2, whereas System 1 is the system that is automatic, that jumps into conclusion very fast. And the second is the, well, you know, the more sit down, let's think, like the hard thinking that we have in our brains. So in games and in every interactive thing, we have these types of decision. Some may be hard and some may be automatic decision. We don't even have to think to act. So if we take a game like chess, chess would be up on the scale. It's a game that is made of very hard decisions, whereas a game like Bejeweled Blitz or Candy Crush Saga or these mastery titles, they are made of automatic decisions, so naturally they are down the y-axis. So we have also the x-axis, which is the interaction frequency, how much the game is interactive. And if we look at Bejeweled Blitz, which is a very fast mastery game, it would be around here. A lot of rapid decisions that we take automatically, whereas chess would be all over to the left, because you may have the same amount of decisions, like maybe 60 decisions in the game of chess and in the game of Bejeweled, but in Bejeweled it will be in 60 seconds, whereas in chess it could take forever. Actually, I looked it up, and this is a screenshot from the finals of Split Chess Championship in 2019, and it took them 4 hours and 12 minutes to finish. And this is speed chess. If you see Netflix's The Queen's Gambit, this is not how they play. No, they have this scene where, no, it takes 4 hours, okay? So this is a slow game. The interaction frequency really has impact on the pace of the game. Okay, good. So how do we use this model? We can divide it to 4 quadrants, and each quadrant delivers slightly different player experience. So let's think about the slow and hard thinking. We can think about games like chess or poker or strategy games like Civilization, where players have to really think about what they're doing all the time. Think about a game like poker. You may not have a lot of decision, but every decision has its weight. Okay, I can really think and focus about something particular and have a very intense user experience, although I don't have many decisions to make. This is how I look playing poker. If you play poker, you want to play poker with me. I'm a terrible poker player. I cannot hold my feelings. So these are slow and hard thinking. It's a kind of experience that board game have, and maybe some other games. Let's jump to the fast and hard thinking. Can you imagine what kind of games or interactive appliances go into that quadrant? Yes?
Set.
Say it again?
Set.
Set. Oh yeah, I totally agree. Set is an old mastery kind of game that requires a lot of brain power. Definitely goes there. I want to give you an example how it feels like to play something that is in this quadrant. Let's do a simple exercise. You know the ABC, so I would like you to go over them in your head as fast as possible from A to Z, and whoever finishes raise their hands, okay? 1, 2, 3, begin. Amazing. Okay, now let's do the same with numbers, 1 to 26. 1, 2, 3, go. Wow. Yes, 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 very smart people here. Now, let's do a mixed version, okay? So in your head, do A1, B2, C3, D4, E5, okay? Ready? 1, go. Who quit? Okay, so this is the experience, okay? The experience is not very easy. It's not very, comfortable to do it. However, it builds skill. So when we practice something, imagine you picking up a guitar for the first time or driving for the first time. Everything is very, very stressful. Or doing that exercise for the first time, you won't be able to make it very, very good. But if you did it a few times, you will build this skill, and then it will go down to the to the fast and automatic quadrant, but it will be easier for you. So which kind of games and appliances we have in this quadrant? You mentioned Set, which is a beautiful example. We also have these brain training games like Lumosity or Elevate. Now these apps, they require users' motivations, so people would use it. Like, I don't want to get dementia kind of motivation, so I would use Lumosity every day. So if you want to create experience that builds skill, you really have to work on the why. Why should people use it? Because it's not comfortable for them. They would much rather be on the third quadrant, which is the fast and automatic thinking. Most games work on in this quadrant. Like hyper casual games, like this game. Look at this. It's very fast. You make a lot of decisions in a very short period of time, and it's a very feedback saturated environment. You have a lot of feedback going on, and if your brains were like a computer CPU, it would be like I would put very little thought in many different decisions, and I would do it, like automatically and over a short period of time. So the feeling that I have as a player is a feeling of flow. I feel that everything is, very smooth, and generally that's what happens in Clash Royale that my friends were playing. So the last quadrant is the slow and automatic thinking. What kind of interactive experiences go there, do you think? It's a very popular puzzle. Say what? Puzzle game. Yeah, maybe. I mean, this model is non-binary. It's a graph that you have. Like, the more you go to the right, the more fast it is. But it's a scale. That's what I want to say. So yeah, puzzle games maybe. I was thinking more along the lines of slot machines. Or digital slot machines, where all you do is really look at the reels go around, and occasionally you win, and sometimes you don't, and this is the experience. It's very non-interactive, and you don't have any process of thought. The only decision you want to make is whether I should do another spin or not, and even this you don't have to do anymore because you have this large auto spin button. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So most social appliances work that way. If you think about scrolling a feed on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn even, this is the experience. You scroll down, and occasionally you have a reward, and this is the brain power that you dedicate to this. Nothing very serious. Now, the only place where social casino players face a big decision is when they are out of money. And then they have to decide whether they want to pay to keep on playing or not. And if you're like me, you just want to have this pop-up removed and keep on playing. So you pay a little bit of money, and then you can go back to the place where you were before. So in terms of user experience, this is a bad user experience, the clash between quadrants. But if you want to make money, it's one way to do it. So I would never recommend to go from one quadrant to another in a very clashy, in a very clashy method. So you were like zoning out, and then suddenly you have to make a tough decision. But that doesn't go to say that experiences cannot live in a few quadrants in parallel. I'll give you a few examples. Do you know this game Clash Royale? Yeah. Yeah, it's a very good game. It's a very strategic game, but when you play it fairly automatically. It's a fast battle, PvP, 3 minutes, you have to conquer the other person's towers, and you don't really have to think a lot about it after you understand how it works. But it also have a big chunk of a slow and hard thinking. This is where you build your deck of cards, and you can go to YouTube and read about it, and you can try different variations of your cards so you'll be stronger the next time. And this really requires thinking. So that's why this game is immensely popular and very big, okay? Because you can play in a fast and first and automatic mode, and you can also think about what you're doing, and it gives depth to the game. Let's say Instagram. So Instagram feed is really like any other social media feed. You just scroll. It's very slow and automatic thinking. You don't have to react too much. Sometimes you do if you want to comment on something, or you double tap to like something. It also works. But also when you upload a photo, you take your time to find the right filter, maybe find the right text. If you do a story, it takes more time. So Instagram and any other big social outlet works on different quadrants at the same time. So I want to give you a few examples of how to use the model, and the first use for it is for inspiration and creativity. Who know this game, Diablo? Oh yeah. So where would you put Diablo on this model? Where it's you really cannot see my laser, right?
Bottom right.
But fast, yeah, it's kind of fast and automatic. I think so too. Diablo is a dungeon crawler, kind of brawler type of game. You have weapons, and you go down and you fight monsters, and then you find loot, and you repeat this process again and again and again until you feel satisfied 10 years later. So this is the fast and automatic thinking. What would have happened if we dragged Diablo all over to the slow and automatic thinking? So I would have to remove all combat, because combat is very interactive, and I may find myself with a game like Non-Stop Night. Non-Stop Night is a game exactly like Diablo, but you don't have to beat the bad guys yourself, because he does that automatically. The new generation of players, they don't like to play that much. They like other people to play for them, and in this game, the game plays for itself, and it was a huge hit. It's like Diablo without you actually interacting with everything. So this is a nice appliance of how to take one world and put it to the other. What would have happened if we took Non-Stop Night into the slow and hard thinking quadrant? We would maybe have to deal with moral question. Is it right for me to kill these monsters? Don't they have families? I don't know. So something would happen there. Firewatch. Firewatch is a walking simulator. Yes, this genre actually exists. In Firewatch, hi. Wow. In Firewatch, you actually walk in the beautiful land of Wyoming, and you speak with somebody over the radio, and that's the game. You only walk, but it's beautiful. It's really, the settings is beautiful, and the story is good. So that's what you do in the game. What would happen if I would take this walking simulator and shove it all up to the fast and hard thinking? What would it be like? What experience could it be? So we may look at experience like Manuel Samuel. Manuel Samuel is a game about this douchebag called Manuel. No, he's called Samuel. And he died. And the angel of death told him that he could live again if he would survive for 24 hours, doing everything automatic, meaning you have to breathe with your controller. You have to actually tap a button to breathe. You have to blink, otherwise you won't see anything, because you have to have some moisture in it. And of course, walking becomes a challenge, because you have like 2 joysticks just for the very basic act of walk that we take for granted in most games and in life also. In this specific scene, Samuel has to drive a manual car while breathing manually, and it's hilarious. It's a very fun game, and it challenges the very act of things that we do automatically. One last thing, Coursera. Coursera is a website for courses, MOOCs. Where would you put Coursera in the model? slow and hard thinking. This is if you're actually doing the exercises. Most people don't. They have like 96% of people, not completing the course. So I would say that most people, well, it's somewhere around here. If they just watch it, it's a slow and automatic thinking. If they actually do the exercises, it's slow and hard thinking. What would happen if we take this experience all the way right to the first and hard thinking? We may get something like Quantic. Quantic is learning app that is made of micro exercises. So basically you learn something and immediately you do exercises about it. You drag things on the screen, you answer unseen tasks, you have interactions. So Duolingo also, yeah, of course. You have a few examples in this field, and I personally think that this is the future of education, but it's also interesting to think how we can take something that is non-interactive and put more interactiveness into it. So what happens when you move experiences around the model? This is the question I ask when I try to innovate. And using the model part 2 to craft experiences, I'm going to give you 2 case studies of my own work. So let's begin with this game. Somebody knows this? Oh yeah, okay, we should talk. We should hang. This is a game that I've made. It's a game about recycling. I was approached by Tamir. Tamir is the Israeli recycling bureau, and they had a very big challenge. Only 15% of the Israeli waste is recycled, out of which only 30% is sorted correctly, which means that most Israelis, they just put everything in the orange bin and they feel that, they've made something good, but no, they have to, you have other bins as well. Oh yeah, and they told us that we can do anything, but we have to use the cat. So, we started to pitch some ideas and build prototypes, and first we thought, okay, let's do a fast and automatic thing. Most games work like that. So we had the little cat running on a platform, like a platform game, like Mario game, and collect different things that he could recycle. And it was nice, but nobody learned anything about recycling. It was just like, running and not very educational. So we went to the educational channel and we've made this big quiz about what goes in and what goes out. It was like an escape room of some sort. Slow and automatic thinking. It was too boring. So we said, okay, let's try to craft an experience that will start at the fast and hard thinking, and people would repeat it, and then they will become good at recycling. And we went with that. We had this idea of the cat, like very big cat, and you have products falling from above, and he has to sort them to different bins fast. This proved to be too hard, so we eliminated the other beans and we focused on the orange bean. The orange bean is a very weird one because it has like different products to go in that seems to have no relation to each other, but they do. They all go into the orange bean, but yeah, it took us a while to understand it as well. So we build this experience when you have only one bin and you have packages go down, and you have to do it pretty fast. So what is the motivation of players to actually do it? So we thought at first that they don't really have one. So we offered prizes and we offered a leaderboard. And the leaderboard, you had to go over a certain threshold to actually see the leaderboard. Now, Tamir told us that for them, a player has to sort at least 60 packages so they would think that they learned something. So this was the threshold. And if players got a lower score, they would have this kind of notification saying you're very close to be in the leaderboard, play again. And this worked, and people played a lot when this was in the campaign. Actually, this is the leaderboard. It's still in the game. You can see it in the game. And one package is 1 point. And this guy, Shimon Sudri, has 23,449 points. Now, I don't know who this guy is, but one thing is certain, he knows what goes in the orange pen. And also the other folks like Shelly and Ori. Now, we actually got videos of people saying, look, we played 8 hours. Here is the proof. And the game crashed after 8 hours. So we won something. And I was like, yeah, we never tested the game for 8 hours straight. It could happen, you know? What's interesting that even when the campaign was off, it's running for 3 years now, and we have like 600 people that go in daily and play the game. So the game succeeded in being fun. It's more fun after you know how to play it. And eventually we had some good results with it. Over 500,000 installs. More than 100 million packages virtual sorted, and we saw a 3% improvement of real-life orange bean sorting year after year, actually. So this is a nice result, and we're still doing this game, actually. Another case study is GoCube. GoCube is also a company that has offices in Netanya. Actually, I go there right after here. I'm sure that, yeah, you guys are interested in that. And GoCube, they have a magical toy/game, which is this Rubik's Cube, and it's smart cube. Meaning that via Bluetooth, the phone knows exactly where the cube is, not in terms of location, but in terms of, like, you know, the colors. So you can do a bunch of things with it. You can compete with other cubers. You can learn how to, you know, solve the cube. Do we have any cube solvers here? Yes, you know how to do it. Ever question why you're doing it? Because it's nothing, but it's really fun to actually accomplish it. So this was the main challenge for GoCube: how to teach players to solve the cube. So the average learning time is around 4 hours. I took much more. I took around 8 or 9 hours to solve it for the first time. It's not that hard, but the thing is that if you get lost, you have to start anew, because you don't know how to go back. You cannot really undo the thing. So the challenge was to reduce this time to 1 hour and below. And we came up with a tutorial. And for the tutorial, you have to know to read the language of the cube, which is the notations. Okay, so the notations tell you how to rotate the cube. And you have to know it, because if we want to undo your moves, you have to repeat a certain sequence, so you have to read it. So I'll give you an example how it works. U is upper face clockwise. So please do this with me. Take, hold and imagine like cube, like you have a cube, and rotate clockwise the upper face, okay? Easy. So right is the right face clockwise. So do it with me, okay? It's also like easy. Left is the left face clockwise. So do it also. And if you made this maneuver from your body outside, this is not clockwise, okay? Because it's turned around. So you should have been doing the opposite, okay? This is where things go messy, but as users, they're like, yeah, I got it, but they don't. And we realized from playtests that they have to go through the notations at least like 10 minutes, trying different variations of it, so they could really internalize the thing. Otherwise, they cannot solve it. So how would we motivate them to do something like that? I thought about the model and said, okay, let's take another fast and hard thinking experience and let them repeat this a lot of times until they internalize the notifications. So we did this kind of contest. We already had the infrastructures, because we already made the PvP, the player versus player cubers against each other. So we did the same thing, but with these notations. So the first time users go to this screen, they are sure that they know the notations, and they are devastated. Like the computer, it's a computer, it's not really a real person, but the computer smashes them. And they are so intrigued by this that they do replay, and they do it again and again and again, trying to beat the AI, which they think is a real player. shh, between us. And when they go back to the tutorial, they know notations because they've been through it like 15 or 20 minutes or maybe even more. And another cool side effect of this test is that you begin with a messy cube, but when you do all the sequence, you have it solved. So you really didn't solve it yourself, but you see a solved cube, and it's magic. You know it. So eventually, this was successful, but we found ourselves with a different problem. Now the tutorial was too automatic. Players were just running through it, just repeating, you know, the instructions and never internalizing the logic behind solving the cube. So we entered questions, so they would slow down the pace and think hard about what they're doing, so it won't be too automatic. So we slowed down the pace of the tutorial and we broke it with hard thinking questions, and eventually the result was that 90% of players have engaged with the scramble context, have finished solving the cubes tutorial. 45 minutes is the average time, and this is also the things that we got on the App Store. Many good reviews of people that finally solved the damn thing, and it is very heartwarming. And eventually, this product has a very nice ending to it because it was purchased by Rubik's, which is the probably the biggest manufacturer of cubes, and it's also now in the Corona time. You have a speed cubers contest. You have a very nice movie about it. Very weird. People solve it in 3 seconds or something. And to enter to the contest, you have to go and buy GoCube and do the whole tutorial and compete with other people, so you could actually qualify for the contest. So this is really nice, awesome product. Okay, so this is the model. These are the quadrants. And I would like to sum it up with going back to the story I started with. Indeed, Petal, which is this little baby, she was not born that night. Eventually, Meital was faking it, and she didn't give birth. It took us 1 more week to have Petal, our second child, and now she is a part of Game Night, as you can see. And when I was thinking about this model, and I was thinking about it a lot at the time of Petal's birth, I tried to put my life also in the model. So most of the time right now is father for 2 toddlers. This is my state of mind. It's fast and automatic, fast and hard thinking. What to do when somebody, you know, spoiled your coffee on, you know, your computer and the other one is crying helplessly. You have to act very fast. Although most of the time it's just me doing whatever needed, you know, taking them from whatever, or like, you know, doing the dishes, or just tell me what to do and I'll do it. That's a set of mine. Where I want to be is here. I just want to watch Netflix and play video games. But soon maybe, in retirement. Thank you very much. Do we have time for... Yeah, we have 5 minutes.
So, question.
So you prepared in advance?
Yes, but I did it secretly, so she has one and he has one.
Okay, so let's hear the spontaneous questions.
I'll ask about does anything can be gamified? Like we have, I know at Outbrain we have like a quality rating, which is done manually. So it's people going over like many ads and needing to say if they're good or not.
Really? That's your job?
Yeah, some of it. And it's a very tedious one. Would you recommend like gamifying?
Yeah, I can think of any B2C appliance that is not gamified nowadays, from Tinder to Instagram to TikTok.
Does it have any downsides?
I think it's a part of, I wouldn't even call it gamification, it's a part of the product design. It have any downside? Yeah, like ethically, probably. For sure. No, this is really something that the gaming industry deals with every day now. The ethical problems of getting users addicted or hooked to a product. But I don't see any other way. I really don't think that we will have non-gamified products, even B2B, the B2B sector. So
I want to follow up on this question, okay? Before we had users inside our company doing that tedious tasks of tagging ads, we actually wanted to get user feedback, okay? So we would use Outbrain platforms to promote a game where user could actually play, and it was nicely designed by the marketing team. It was really cool, and times and stuff like that, and badges and so on. What happened is that we realized that users just, I was amazed by that. Users were just clicking something, they didn't care what they clicked. The data was messy and dirty. They just clicked to reach the badges and the prices. And I thought, oh my God, like, what people are wasting their time on. So what is your perspective about this? Do you think you can actually take something like that to the market, to the users, and get real data, or just a waste of time?
No, but you really have to understand what you're tracking, because this is exactly right. I mean, people usually play to win, and fun is just a byproduct of it. And you have the famous Cobra story in India, I think. New Delhi, yeah, they had like a major snake problem, and they offered bounties for people to capture them. And the Indian entrepreneurs started breeding cobras so they could get a bounty. And when the Brits found out, they said, okay, no more bounties, so they were released to the streets, and the problem was way more severe. So basically, users, I think that's one of the pitfalls of gamification. Designers fall in love with the game, forget about real KPIs, and then you have like weird data and people playing for 8 hours. It's kind of the same. And frankly, I don't think this Shimon Sudri now really knows how to, like, I don't know if he even recycles. He just knows how to beat the game. So it is problematic, but you have ways to explore and get what you want eventually. If you do it smart. Like, for example, look what Facebook has done with the communities over the past 2 or 3 years. They really emphasize this, and you have these little badges that you get for being a part of community, and it's very not intrusive, and you actually feel good about being, you know, a fire starter or a conversation starter, or like a new, I don't know, star in the community, and it helps. And as a moderator, you can decide if you want it on or off, or to what degree you want to give these badges. So it's not one silver bullet to everything, but definitely I think that's the way to go. Of course, I'm biased.
I have one.
Yes.
You said, like, when you plan the games, you think about where do you want to put them on the model.
Definitely.
And what will be the best way to make users more engaged. So when I think about a product that is not a game and it's something that is very serious and people need to think about it, but what things do you think that we can take from the world of gaming and implement into you know, some more serious product to maybe help people get more engaged, or help them like to be more pleased from the process they're doing, you know, something like this? How we can like take things from gaming into a more complex products?
First of all, games are complex. If you are to learn a game like a board game that takes 3 hours to complete, it's a very complex thing, and people do it. I think it's even more complex than most services out there. So you can take a look at the onboarding as a place that you can. Thanks.
You got a bench.
I can hold it. Just, you can think about onboarding as a place for intervention like that. Okay, you probably all know WalkMe, which is a solution that fits most products. It's very simple to use it and very simple to implement it, but the experience is very automatic. You skip, you tap, 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 and eventually didn't learn anything. So learning by doing, this is the perfect place for a good onboarding that actually makes you think a little bit about what you do and make it more interactive. I can think of Slack doing a decent job there, talking with the bot, and he kind of explains you what to do as you go. And I can think of other appliances that gradually open the UI, so you won't have like everything, you know, on the first time in the first user experience. So I think, of course, especially in the learning aspects of a product and the onboarding aspects of it, and later on engagement, but it has to be taken with a grain of salt and very isolated from the different, you know, from the whole product, so you will understand the data. Yeah, man.
At what level of maturity of a product, or how many users would you start doing gamification, or from day one? If
you can, from day one, and it's a part of the product DNA. I work with think about ways they started with gamification. They kind of lost it in the way. Now they're going back for it, and now it's a big company now.
Yeah, but they addressed you know, millions of users. And the idea was from day one. If we have products for millions of users, we have products for thousands of users, and we have products of tens of users. Should we try to add gamification to all of them?
Yeah. If it adds to the bottom line, yeah. I mean, and also many tactics that we call gamifications are not really, like, the prime example of gamification a few years ago was the LinkedIn bar that now everyone has. So that you fill the profile and you see the bar, like, you know, fills up. Is this gamification? This is just good product design. So it's kind of like blurred. Where is it a game or where is it just product? Yeah, sure. I'm taking this. Okay.
You earned it.
And thank you. Yeah, like a championship medal. Thank you very much, guys.